Hello, everyone. My name is Seraphi, and I'm happy to meet you all. I'm really sorry that I didn't upload any videos yesterday, but today I am joined by Goldmine.
Uh, Hello, everybody.
Yep, and we are joined by our new guest, the Cubic Guru, Arkady.
So you know when you do something and then you forget about it, but you do it again? This is
Yes,
what we're doing now.
yes. So today, my friends and I are engaging in a classic streamer activity known as the run back, where you record an hour-long video and then you discover after the fact that the recording is completely unusable, and then you have to go back and do it again. The reason I didn't upload yesterday is because I actually recorded this video yesterday, and then it just didn't work. So now we're gonna do it again. We are gonna be talking about the Minibox, the brand new deck building box, Wild Spirit. There's a lot of implications for what this means for the game, how it will impact the meta, and a few other things. So, to start with, the Wild Spirit box was released without any leaks a few days ago. It contains key cards for Lunalights, Bujins, and Fire Fist, including new cards. And the box only has 50 packs in it, so you can easily pick it up for 2,500 gems. You could get 3 copies of every card in the box for 7,500 gems. It does have a lot of reprints in it, but those reprints are from very old boxes, so it's actually quite beneficial to grab some of these cards, especially since some of them are pretty good. And they will probably do this for other characters moving forward. So a lot of people were thinking, how are they going to handle the Selena rerun? Because Selena, just like Alito, because Alito's Battling Boxer Nova Kaiser is already in the game. A lot of people were thinking, how are you going to unlock Selena when Konami does not reprint super rares in boxes? If they gave us a box focused on Selena, it would not have cards like Yellow Martin or Saber Dancer in it, and then Fire Formation Tenki is basically considered to be a Lunalight staple. So that card being in an older mini box was also unfortunate. And Arkady wants to say something about Tenki in particular, so I'll let him go.
I love Tenki. Tenki is one of my most favorite spell cards of all time, just because of how versatile it is in like so many cool decks. And now, the best thing about this box, the only reason why this box is good, sarcastically, unironically, but I mean ironically, but it's because now you do not have to dig an eternal piss stream anymore. You can just get Tenki from here and like two and a half other decks.
That's right. All right. Okay, so let's talk about these cards. So for Lunalights, Gold, you had quite a bit that you wanted to say about Lunalights, so I'll let you go first.
I'm mostly gonna be repeating what I had said in the previous recording, but let's start with the UR. First, Luna like Kaleido chick. Yes, I said it right this time.
Gold, they can't. The audience
But
hasn't seen the other video.
I know.
Go ahead.
Once per turn, you can send one Luna Light monster from your deck or the extra to the graveyard, and this face up card name becomes that sent monster. This is useful for getting Luna Lights in the graveyard, like Yellow Martin, the red the red fox, Crimson Fox, yes. And also, when this card is sent to the graveyard by a card effect, you can target one polymerization in your graveyard. Meaning you can recycle polymerization. You don't just have to run Lunalight Fusion. And also, when this card is banished, you can activate this effect to make your opponent's card effect unable to be activated during the battle phase.
All right. So you can target one polymerization in your graveyard and return it to your hand. That's what you mean when you say that you're saying that you can recycle it.
Yes.
Yes. So Kaleidochick is an extremely useful card. In addition to being able to mill whatever you want, which the skill does for you as well, it also allows you to send cards from the extra deck to the graveyard. And this is incredibly important for two reasons. Number one, if you send Panther Dancer from your extra deck to the graveyard, Lunalight Kaleidochick becomes Lunalight Panther Dancer until the end of the turn, so you can activate Polymerization. If you use Lunalight Kaleidochick with two other Lunalights to immediately go into Leo Dancer, and then as well, because Panther Dancer is actually in your graveyard, you can also use the Pendulum effect of Lunalight Wolf, which is a free card that we're getting from Selena. It allows you to fusion summon a Lunalight fusion monster from your extra deck by banishing fusion materials listed on it from your field or graveyard. You banish Kaleidochick, one other Lunalight, and Panther Dancer. You make a second Leo Dancer, and then you can activate Kaleidochick's effect to immediately prevent your opponent from using cards or effects during the battle phase.
Indeed. This card is very helpful for the deck. The second card this box gives is Lunalight Tiger, which is very huge for Lunalights. Once per turn, as the Pendulum effect, you can target one Lunalight monster in your graveyard to special summon it, but it cannot attack and its effects are negated, and it's going to be destroyed during the end phase, but that won't really matter too much. The use of this is that it's a Pendulum effect, which is not a heart once per turn, meaning you can recycle it using cards like Yellow Marten. If this card is in your hand or graveyard, you can target one Lunalight monster you control, except Yellow Marten, to return it to your hand, and if you can special summon this card in the defense position. Basically, this is useful for recycling Lunalight Tiger and just keep using its effect over and over again.
Yes, so for example, it's your turn 2. You set the scale with Lunalight Tiger, and you activate its effect. And let's say you revive your Emerald Bird from your graveyard. Then you activate Yellow Marten's effect. You return Lunalight Tiger from your graveyard, from your field to the hand, and then Lunalight Yellow Marten returns to the field from the graveyard. Then you activate Lunalight Tiger. You activate its effect. You target another Lunalight in your graveyard, maybe it's Crimson Fox. Bring it back to the field. Now you have 3 level 4 monsters on your field from your graveyard. You have not Pendulum summoned or normal summoned yet. So Tiger is an extremely powerful card. This card was previously banned. It is currently limited in the TCG to 1, and that is because Pendulum cards, the reason why Pendulum cards are so powerful is because there's no cost to activating them as spells. Really, you could take almost every Pendulum card that is currently banned or has ever been banned off of the ban list simply by updating Master Rule 6 to say that you could only activate a Pendulum monster of the same name once per turn. If they just did that, if they just gave us like a hard once per turn on all Pendulum cards, that would fix almost all the abuse cases of Pendulums. But they don't do that, so that's why cards like Heavy Storm and Giant Trunade see getting banned, is because they have such incredible synergy, not just with Floodgates, but also with Pendulum monsters. Um, so, Lunalight Tiger's second effect is if this card on the field is destroyed by battle or card effect, you can target one Lunalight monster in your graveyard and special summon it. You can only use this effect with Lunalight Tiger once per turn. So this is a hard once per turn. But when a Pendulum card is destroyed and placed in the extra in the extra deck, it is treated as a monster still. It no longer counts as a spell card, which means that if Lunalight Tiger is destroyed by MST, for example, then its effect as a monster effect will be activated. And again, the other important thing is that, of course, Lunalight Tiger has a scale 5. Lunalight Wolf has a scale 1. All of the Lunalight monsters, except for Wolf, are between level 2 and level 4. So these two cards will allow you to Pendulum summon your whole hand. The drawback of Pendulums for Lunalights, there's positives and there's minuses. The positives of having Pendulum cards in Lunalights is that Lunalights, generally speaking, do not have easy ways to play themselves on the field. They can play themselves from the graveyard fairly frequently with Emerald Bird and Yellow Marten, but getting themselves on the field to start with is not easy. This does lend them very heavily to their fusion strategy, but a lot of people like to try and make Link or Xyz plays with Lunalights because they are dark monsters and they are primarily level 4. Um, and the best way to do this is to play pendulum cards. Yes, people have been able to kind of. There's been like one or two people who have managed to hit King of Games using an Xyz Lunalight deck since Selena came out, but for the most part, this is going to be a lot easier to do, and it's going to be a lot more consistent with the pendulum deck, especially since Wolf is free.
True.
Okay, so Arkady, what do you have to say about Lunalights? I know you made a Lunalight video on your channel. I watched it. I will put a link to that video in the description.
I mean, I haven't really had time to mess with the newer support, but I'm really hoping, it gets much better. Obviously, the Rank 4 turbo is really good, especially Tiger giving, I believe, Grave Recursion, right?
That is correct.
Okay, so obviously that's going to be really good for comebacks and obviously extending off of your fusion plays. I still think it's going to be a little iffy turn one, but doing what it does best turn two, it's still going to be like really damn good. And the rank fours are definitely going to help, chip away at the board, though you'll probably mainly be using them at after you fusion summon, unfortunately.
So
But overall, I have really high hopes.
I was taking a look at that actually. I was looking at my collection to see if there were any like interesting um, Xyz monsters that hadn't been tried yet for Lunalights, and I found one.
Pray tell.
It is called Evil Swarm Thanatos. It is a rank 4. It's a rare monster from Shark Fey and Idea of Armageddon. It requires 2 level 4 dark monsters, and once per turn as a quick effect, you can detach 1 material from this card. This face-up card is unaffected by other monster effects this turn. It has 2,350 attack points. So if you're playing a decent number of traps, and you make this, then you could probably survive the turn.
It's true. The
Thank
problem
you, Gold.
is,
Very cool.
but bruh, but the problem is then you gotta find space for staples too.
Well, the good news is Tiger isn't limited. So I thought Tiger would come as a limit 1 card in the card trader, and I actually predicted. I didn't post this on my YouTube channel. I posted it in the Discord, but I actually predicted they were going to, with this ban list after the Casey Cup, move Yellow Martin to limit 1. They recently unlimited Yellow Martin, but I was predicting they were going to put her at limit 1 so that she would compete with Tiger. That was my thought. And instead, we get to run 3 Yellow Martins and 3 Tigers, which is crazy. And Tiger is like the cheapest good SR we've gotten ever. You can get 3 copies of this card for 7,500 gems at the most. That's insane. Um, Never mind that Kaleidochick is crazy. Kaleidochick goes so hard with all 3 of its effects, and the fact that you can use all 3 of its effects in the same turn is also insane. And of course, uh, the mill effect is a soft once, which is hilarious. So if you pendulum summon 2 Kaleidochicks out, look out. That's going to be really funny.
That's gonna be pretty powerful.
Um, I because the skill is also a foolish, which is that's a little crazy. So a Lunalight Alleviation, for those of you that don't know, this skill is coming out tomorrow. Send 1 Lunalight monster from your hand to the graveyard to send 1 Lunalight monster from your deck or extra deck to the graveyard, but you cannot activate monster effects of the monsters you sent to the graveyard or cards with the same name. I'm assuming during the turn that you use this skill. Um, so you just mill whatever you want, and then basically the reason that you do that is so that you can use Wolf's effect. So you use Wolf's effect, Wolf is basically like the skill basically just gives you extra uses of Kaleidochick, which is very nice of Konami to let us use Kaleidochick without needing to go into this box. But obviously, Kaleidochick is going to be better as like a normal summon than discarding a card from your hand. And we don't know whether alleviation is. I don't know if alleviation is. Oh, each effect is once per duel. Yeah. Okay. So Collider Chick is obviously better than the skill, but using the skill in combination with Collider Chick and Wolf will definitely give you a lot of fusion summoning.
Yeah, it's gonna be pretty interesting to see how the Lunalights gonna do with the new skill tomorrow.
Mhm. Oh, something else that's important to note. Again, another problem with pendulum cards, right, is that the scales don't have to make sense. So Wolf's effect is a soft once as well, and obviously you could just do the same thing where you yell a Martin to return Wolf to your hand, and then use its effect again. But you can also you can also just set the scale with 2 wolves. You don't have to pendulum summon. You could literally just play 2 wolves from your hand and get 2 miracle fusions in the same turn.
Oh, I actually didn't realize that.
Yeah, pendulum cards are weird. A lot of people you don't realize how strange and how many ways you can play pendulums until you actually do it.
True.
Wolf's other effect, by the way, Wolf has a level 6 with 2,000 attack points, and Wolf's monster field effect is it gives all your Lunalights piercing.
The problem is you gotta get it out first. So like, yeah, you're gonna probably need pendulum summoning for that.
The problem is if you pendulum summon, it's not going to be in your hand anymore, unless you have Yellow Martin in your graveyard. You could pendulum summon Yellow Martin, return Lunalight Wolf to your hand, and then tribute for it, but more likely it's going to be like you fusion summon, and then um, you use like Emerald Bird as one of your fusion materials, and Emerald Bird's effect is when it's sent to the graveyard for a card effect, you get to target one of your Lunalights in your graveyard or banished and revive it, and then you just tribute that. That does make like giving a monster that you control piercing does make Saber Dancer significantly better. Saber Dancer is really powerful, really easy to summon. The only thing that makes Saber Dancer kind of mediocre is the fact that she can't pierce, which is why Greater Polymerization was one of the level up rewards, specifically so that it could give um, uh, Lunalight Saber Dancer piercing. And I have seen plenty of people use Greater Polymerization with Selena in ranked specifically to give Saber Dancer piercing. So it's kind of funny that they released Greater Polymerization kind of to tide Selena over until they gave us Wolf, because Wolf just does the same thing but better. Um, okay. Go ahead.
I said that's kind of why I hope we really got this type of box when Serena released, because then that would have really helped her.
Mhm.
Like, like I think most people can admit that Serena felt a bit underwhelming on release. Like it gave us some stuff, but like it didn't give us what we needed for Lunalights. That's why it felt underwhelming on release.
That is correct. I definitely think that Greater Polymerization should have been replaced by um, either Black Sheep or maybe Collider Chick. Um, but the fact that they kind of gave her bad level ups, and then in exchange they gave us these 2 extra cards for her. These are basically like a third and fourth drop. So really, if they needed to give us this many cards, they should have just made Selena a roaming duelist so that we would have had 2 extra drops. But um, I guess they solved that with the reprint. Like they were looking for a way to solve the reprint problem because they needed to give new players who didn't go into Judgment Force copies of Yellow Martin, copies of Cat Dancer, um, copies of Saber Dancer. And yes, they could have reprinted Cat Dancer and Fusion in a new box because these are rares. But this is a much simpler solution. And when you compare this to something like what they did for the Gore, because when Vrains came out, they didn't reprint any of the Goki cards in the new box. They gave us a box that had like Great Ogre by itself as one card, and then if you wanted to actually play Gokis, you either had to go into the old mini box, or they released a selection box, an actual selection box, at the same time that had just a bunch of reprints of Gokis. That felt terrible. Thankfully, I'd already gotten all my Gokis beforehand, but still. So
I definitely agree that this is a much better solution, and I really hope they continue to do this from like more characters that have already released their cards. Like you talked about this before in a previous recording, but like you said earlier, Yuri. I hope that when you're released, they give him another type of these boxes that reprints Pet Plant.
Yes. So Yuri is another example of a character because with Yuri they already printed an ultra rare for Private Plants in the Witch's Sorcery box. So they definitely need to give us that card easier than just going back into an old box. Okay.
So that,
Um,
oh,
let
go
me.
ahead, go ahead.
Yeah. So if you're interested in playing Lunalights and you don't have any of the cards, this box has everything you need. It has Cat Dancer. It has Purple Butterfly, which is a hand trap for Lunalights that gives them 1,000 attack points. It has Lunalight Fusion, which allows you to fusion summon using monsters from your hand or field as fusion material. And then if your opponent controls a monster with special summon from the extra deck, you can also use a Lunalight in your extra deck as fusion material. So these are all ways that you can easily get Leo Dancer. White Rabbit bounces spells and traps and also revives a Lunalight on summon. This is the main way that you trigger Blue Cat, because Blue Cat doubles attack points when it's special summoned. Emerald Bird. This card lets you discard Yellow Martin when it's normal summon to draw a card, and we discard Yellow Martin searches you Lunalight Fusion. And if you use it as material for a fusion summon, you get to special summon a monster from your graveyard or from your banished zone. Again, great way to trigger Blue Cat. Crimson Fox is bad. Um, it allows you to negate a card or effect that targets one of your Lunalights by banishing it from the graveyard, but then both players gain 1,000 life points and it doesn't destroy the card that it negates. The only real benefit of Crimson Fox is that it reduces the monster's attack points to 0 when it's sent to the graveyard for a card effect, which specifically is very good with Cat Dancer, because Cat Dancer can make a monster unable to be destroyed by battle once and then attack it twice, and 2,400 twice will do you 1,000, so pretty good effect. So I would probably run one Crimson Fox so that you could just ditch it with Lunalight Fusion whenever you want to make Cat Dancer an OTK. And then the other Lunalight card in the box is Reincarnation Dance, which is bad. Don't play it. Okay. Arkady, do you have anything to add before we move on?
No, not at this moment.
Okay. The Cubic Guru, everyone, he has a video called, what is it called? Dodging Interaction with Lunalights. The link will be in the description. I encourage all of you to watch it and to subscribe to his channel. All right. Next up is Bujins, and man, I Bujins are so old. It's a deck that I've always kind of wanted to build because the NPC smacks me with it so much, but I've never really wanted to go back into one of those super old boxes to get all the cards. And now we have actual good starters. Like before, Bujins were a deck that was kind of like, if you could sit on a monster that had decent stats for one turn, you might be able to Exceed summon. But they didn't have a good way to get two monsters out at the same time. Now we have this bad boy, Bujin Torifune, level 4 Light Beast Warrior, 1,500 attack, 500 defense. You contribute this card to special summon 2 Bujins of different types from your deck in defense position, except Torifune. When you Exceed summon a Bujin Exceed monster while this card is in your graveyard, you can equip this card to it. Any monster destroyed by battle with the equipped monster is banished. You can only use each effect of Bujin Torifune once per turn. And the reason why this card is so insane is because it doesn't lock you. It allows you to special summon 2 Bujin monsters, so you have to make Bujin monsters. But those Bujin monsters can go into anything. It doesn't lock you into Bujins, it doesn't lock you into Beast Warriors, it doesn't even lock you into Light. It just says, here's 2 monsters, and they don't even have to be the same level. They just have to be different types. Obviously, you're going to choose to make them the same level. There's not really a tuner monster in Bujins. You could potentially have like a level 1 tuner, I guess, on your field from something else and maybe go into like a Trishula. But primarily you're going to do this with to make any rank 4 that you want that requires 2 materials. So that could be one of the Bujin monsters. It could be Number 39 Utopia, which will go into Chaos number 39 Utopia Ray, which can easily go into S39 Utopia the Lightning. So one normal summon to get you a very dangerous Armades that has 5,000 attack points twice, or you can go into something like Abyss Dweller, maybe number 106 Giant Hand. Maybe you want to go into Malevolent Sin or Dark Rebellion Xyz Dragon. The possibilities are endless. The only drawback of making a non-Bujin Xyz monster is that you don't get the second effect, which allows you to banish any monster that's destroyed by battle with Torafune. But you don't have to, like, you can sit on that effect. That effect is just, Torafune is just sitting in the graveyard. So if you make a Bujin monster later, you still get the effect. So it's a great option. Um, this is a card that I think we'll see play in a lot of rank 4 spam decks. I don't think that, because you just run 3 copies of this card and one of 2 different Bujins in your deck, and then you can literally just have this like on-demand rank 4. And it, with it depends on like how much you want to lean into it, but with Fire Formation Tanky, which lets you draw any Beast Warrior monster that's level 4 or lower, you can make that pretty consistent. Um, so 3 Fire Formation Tankies, 3 Bujin Torifunes, and then one of 2 other Bujin monsters that are level 4, and you get yourself a very easy 1-card rank 4 Xyz package with probably at least one Grave Trap. Like maybe you make centipedes that you can pop a spell or trap. Maybe you put hair in there to make it so that your monsters can't be destroyed. Um, there's another Bujin card which isn't in this box that allows you to, you can banish it from the graveyard to destroy a face-up card on the field. Which one is that? Keelan, which is in Crusaders Battleground. So yeah. Obviously, Bujins themselves going to be pretty good with this, but like I said, this is a potential package of 8 cards that allows you to just play anything else and then also have an easy rank 4. All right, Gold, go ahead.
I do agree with what you said. That can make it a very, very good patchup. And you talked about this before in the previous recording, but this also works excellent with Utopia. Like, go to Oreo Chaos. This works excellent with Utopia. Basically, with Torafune, you can set up like Utopia even without using the you can use like Torafune to get Utopia and then go into Order Chaos and get your Utopia Array V. Or you could use Salamander V for your normal summon and then just revive Utopia. So it's very helpful. And it can also be used with this skill to really make it pop. So I think it's going to be a pretty good deck.
Yes, so Loom, I'll give credit to Loom for coming up with this Order of Chaos Utopia Bujin hybrid, where you kind of start your turn by returning 1 card from your deck to your hand to activate the skill, so you can normal summon V Salamander without tributing, normal summon V Salamander, revive Utopia, sets rank up magic limited variance force, and use it to raise your Utopia into Leo Utopia Ray. So now you have a monster negate on the field, and then you can then go into Torafune with your normal summon. Maybe you make Susanoo, maybe you make um, another good rank 4 like maybe Abyss Dweller or number 106 or something somewhat stable and decent, that'll allow you to interact on your opponent's turn. Then you pass, um, and this just gives you that extra bit of power that Order of Chaos was kind of lacking. Um, and Order of Chaos is a deck that's kind of small. It really only needs the 3V Salamanders and the 1 limited variance force. So it's very easy to sit this 8-card package into Order of Chaos, and then you can just put the rest as back row. So, you know, the 3V Salamanders, the 1 Limited Bearings Force, the 3 Torafunes, the 3 Tenkis, the 2 Bujins that aren't Torafune, and then 7 back row. And you will just wipe your opponent out very consistently, while also getting to play Utopia and Yuma, which are popular characters. So I think this will be a very good deck. And I think that a lot of people are going to have fun with this.
True.
Okay. The other new Bujin card, I haven't even talked about. Like that's the package, but then we also have like just the pure Bujin deck. So if you want to play pure Bujins, there's also Bujin Mahitots, which is a level 4 Light Beast Warrior that allows you to discard a Bujin card from your hand to special summon this card from your hand, and then you could either activate one of these effects. You can discard a Bujin to draw a different Bujin from your graveyard, or you can banish a Bujin from your graveyard to send a different Bujin from your deck to your graveyard. So that just lets you set up all sorts of grave effects. Primarily, what you're going to do with this is, since you can special summon it before your normal summon, you special summon it by discarding any Bujin monster. You activate the effect to banish it from the graveyard, and then send Bujingi Centipede from your deck to the graveyard. And Bujingi Centipede allows you to banish it from your graveyard to target one spell or trap your opponent controls and destroy it. So that will allow you to basically pop your opponent's back row before you've even normal summoned. Your opponent will be forced to use their back row before it gets destroyed. Maybe they remove your Mahitots from the field. Okay, now you have your normal summon. Drop Torafune, go into a rank 4, kill your opponent. So these two cards work very, very well together, and the fact that they reprinted Centipede in this box just shows that this is going to be a combo that a lot of people will have access to moving forward. If you are a new player, 7,500 gems is pretty easy to spend. This deck is going to be good. Bujin is going to be a solid option. It's going to be kind of boring because it doesn't have its own skill. It doesn't have its own anime character. But if that doesn't matter to you, or if you like the challenge, this is a deck that you are being given basically for free. 7,500 gems will take you maybe a month and a half to raise if you don't have any gems at all. And if we're getting more and more level ups these days with the auto duel at the gate events. So I think it'll be very easy for people to get through this. The other Bujin cards in the box, we have Turtle, which lets you banish it from the graveyard to negate the targeting of a card that a card that targets a Bujin monster. Raven lets you trade with a monster that was destroyed by battle. It's not very good. Fox allows you have to discard a card from your hand, but it makes it so that you take no damage this turn. That is battle and effect damage. And it's a quick effect, so you can chain it to an effect that would deal you effect damage. So if you're sick and tired of Eternal Bond, Bujingi Fox has got your back. And then the Xyz monsters, we have Susanoo, which is a rank 4 with 2,400 attack and 1,600 defense. Requires 2 level 4 Bujins. It can attack all monsters your opponent controls once each. And once per turn, you can detach one Xyz material from this card to take a Bujin monster from your deck and either add it to your hand or send it to the graveyard. So you make this with Torafune. Torafune's effect equips to this, so now not only do you get to battle every monster your opponent controls, but anytime Susanoo destroys a monster in battle, you get to banish it. Very, very solid card. It will have 2,500 attack points with Tenki out. And you can use its effect to either mill a card like maybe you want to mill Bujingi Hair, which allows you to target a card, Bujin card you control, and once per turn, it cannot be destroyed by battle or card effects. It's a pretty useful protection effect. Maybe you want to send Keelan so that you can target a face-up card your opponent controls and destroy it. Or maybe you want to draw Crane. And Crane, you just add this to your hand. You can discard it, and it makes it so that your Bujin monster's attack points become double its original attack points during one damage calculation. So, very good card. a lot of options with Susanoo, and you know you're probably not going to rely on this card because they're just better rank 4s outside of Bujins, but it's the best option for you inside of Bujins, and the card art looks great. So I don't think that this card will. I don't think you should sleep on this card. This card will definitely see play in the deck. The other two Xyz monsters in the deck are Amaterasu and Tsukuyomi. Tsukuyomi lets you discard your entire hand to draw 2, which is insane. And then if it leaves the field because of an opponent's card effect, you target level 4 Beast Warrior Bujin monsters in your graveyard up to the number of Xyz materials on this card and special summon them. Pretty decent option, but not. The stats are really bad. It's 1800, 2300, so this card's probably not a card that you're going to use very often unless you specifically want to dig for back row. Amaterasu is interesting because it's 2600 attack and 2500 defense. It's got a pretty decent effect, but it requires 3 level 4s, so it's not going to be easy to make with Torafune, so probably pass on it. But, in addition to Utopia, in addition to Dark Rebellion Xyz Dragon, and in addition to Susanoo, there's another rank 4 Xyz that you can use with this Bujin package, and with Lunalights, and that card is the ultra rare in this box, Brotherhood of the Fire Fist Tiger King. When this card is Xyz summoned, you can set one fire formation spell or trap directly from your deck. So just plays tanky. It just throws tanky on the field. And then that lets you search for another Beast Warrior. So it basically replaces one of its materials. Insanely good. And of course, it doesn't matter right now, but it sets it directly from your deck, which means that it gets around Ash Blossom. So when we eventually get Ash Blossom, this card will allow you to play around Ash Blossom. Once per turn, you can detach one material from this card to negate the effects of all face-up effect monsters on the field except Beast Warriors until the end of your opponent's turn. So if you like Effect Veiler, one of the problems with Effect Veiler is that it doesn't work on your turn. Well, here you go. Here's an Effect Veiler on your turn that has 2,000 attack points. Or 2,200 attack points, I'm sorry. So, yes, I do think that Brotherhood of the Fire Fist Tiger King will see play in all 3 of these decks. It's going to be good in all 3 of these decks. And I think that Bujins in particular will use it to great effect. But I look forward to playing it in Lunalights.
Indeed.
Arkady?
I agree. I have to agree with you. I was also tempted to get Bujins a long time ago. Now I'm definitely tempted because it's literally right here in a box with another deck I want. And they do seem really strong now because while I didn't know much about them previously, I have learned more about them. And they definitely seem way more consistent now and worth it.
Mm-hmm. Yep. And the best part is, basically everything you need is in the box. You can go back and get some of the other cards if you want to, but realistically, you can just kind of build the deck from the cards in this box and then whatever staples you have, and you'll do just fine. Bujins also have a single pendulum monster. Um, Bujin Hiruko, which allows you to banish it from the pendulum zone to target one Bujin Xyz monster you control and special summon from your extra deck a Bujin Xyz monster with a different name by using that target as a material. It steals all the materials from the original, and it's treated as an Xyz summon. It's an interesting option, but I don't think it does let you get Amaterasu with only 2 materials, which is interesting. But I don't think that's good enough to justify putting this card in your deck because it's a normal monster.
Yes, the single pendulum monster in an archetype got to be my favorite gender.
I know, right? It's funny. If you want to play Magic Keys, this is a level 4 normal monster that has a pendulum scale. So I don't know if Magic Key players can make use of this, but I'll be tempted to see if Magic Key players can come up with something. All right. And then the last deck in this box, the last half a deck in this box is Fire Fist. Um, Fire Fist is extremely expensive, and
Yeah.
they have 5 URs in this game, and they're in like 3 different boxes. This box only gives us 2. And admittedly, it gives us one of the best ones. Tiger King is probably the best Fire Fist card, but it also gives us Elephant, which lets you search twice. Oh no, no. Oh, it does. Okay, it lets you special summon from Fire Fist from your hand, and then you can also search, which is okay. But it only lets you search a level 5 or higher 5. Is that just the ritual monster? Hold on. Is it literally just only give you Eland? Let's see. For Oh, okay. There is Panda. All right, fair enough. You do actually have some options. Um, there's not enough Fire Fist cards in this box to really to really start building the deck. You do get Tenki, obviously. You have Tensu, which allows you to get an extra normal summon, um, and then Domei, which allows you to ritual summon Eland, and Eland has a monster negate. The thing that's Fire Fist players are going to be really excited about, all two of them, is Brotherhood of the Fire Fist Eagle has been printed. So this is a Link monster, level Link 2, that has 1700 attack points, and it lets you activate Fire Fist monster effects without sending Fire Fist or Fire Formation cards from your hand or field to the graveyard. Which, admittedly, like, that's a pretty hefty cost. So this card kind of like turns the trading effect of Fire Fists into an advantage gathering effect, which sounds good on paper, but you have to remember that you paid 2 cards to make this. Um, so I'm not sure. I'm not sure. I'm not sure how well that works out in a 3 field format, but it is a cool option. It also allows you to target a fire formation, spell or trap you control, or in your graveyard, return it to the hand, and then mill a Fire Fist monster, which is insane. That basically lets you reset Tenki every single turn. Um, so resetting Tenki every single turn, and then also getting to Foolish is very, very good. I'm not sure how easily Fire Fist can make this card, but assuming that they can make this card and still either Synchro Summon or Ritual Summon in the same turn, it will probably see play. And there's a new skill. There was a new skill that was released, which is you can return one Fire Formation continuous spell in your hand to your deck to draw Tenki. And then during the turn you use this, during the duel you use this skill, you cannot normal or special summon monsters except monsters from the extra deck or Beast Warriors.
We also talked about this before in the previous recording, but if you are willing to use like another fire formation continuous spell, you could potentially use this in Lunalights, but it won't be as good.
Yeah, they do kind of leave it open. I think actually the reason that they leave this open is for Bujins, because Lunalights have their own skills.
Fair.
Um, I do think Bujins can use Tensu because it gives them an additional normal summon. So Tensu might be how you make Amaterasu. So for like a pure Bujin list that's not playing Order of Chaos and just wants to make all the Bujin Xyz monsters, maybe with Hiriko, um, this is kind of like a way that you could potentially play Tensu and Tenki, and you know make sure that you draw your Torifune. Um,
True.
it does, if you play 3 Tenkis and 3 Tensus and 3 Torifunes, then the skill is giving you 9 Torifunes, which is, that's solid. A Torifune is a 1 card, just absolute powerhouse. So it is probably worth it for a pure Bujin deck to play the skill and both of those cards. And it's not like you'll be unhappy when you draw Tensu later. Um, but I think primarily the focus is going to be around Fire Fist, of course. Fire Fist also has in the box their spell and trap negates. They have their ritual spell and the ritual monster, which is a monster negate. The monster negate requires you to send a face-up Fire Fist or Fire Formation card you control to the graveyard, and it doesn't destroy the card that you negate. But since you have Eagle, you get potentially play Eland and not have any cost for its free negate. And at that point, it's a level 6 with 2,400 attack points that just negates a card every turn. That's pretty solid. The other Fire Fist cards, Buffalo lets you special summon it from the graveyard. Cardinal lets you. Cardinal's actually insane. I don't know if you guys have ever read this card. It requires Fire Fist monsters, but it allows you to target. You detach 2 materials and target 2 Fire Fist or Fire Formation cards in your graveyard or on your field, and then 2 cards in your opponent's graveyard or on their field, and shuffle them into the deck. So this is like Madolche on steroids. This is like the. It does require you to target, so it's not quite as good as Tiramisu, but um, still, like I think this probably is better than Tiramisu, just because I think Fire Fist is probably a better deck than Madolche. Shout out to Kyra.
I wouldn't go that far. I wouldn't go that far.
Um, Raven doesn't seem to be too good, and then there's not anything else. Yeah, there's barely any Fire Fist cards in this box, but the skill does kind of like get you started on it, and maybe you want to build Fire Fist later. Um, it's not going to hurt to have the cards in the box, and obviously Tenki, Tensu, and Tiger King are useful in every one of these decks, so I don't have a problem with it. It's not like they spent a lot of the box's uh, budget on this, introducing this third deck, and then they made a archive skill for it. I am excited. They're using archive skills more frequently than I thought they would. And for decks like Fire Fist, like it's a deck that's been in the game forever. They put it in like 3 different boxes, and now they're finally getting their Link monster. So the dedicated Fire Fist players are probably going to be like jumping for joy that they got this. The only real reason, like I went to Eternal Stream. The only real reason that I don't have Fire Fist is because I never went into Absolute Inferno, which is the Red Dragon Archfiend box, because I just bought the Red Dragon Archfiend structure deck instead. So
Uh, was good that they have this all in one box though.
mhm.
So I'm definitely am thankful that they did this for us, and I really hope they continue to do this.
Absolutely. And there's one last card that we need to talk about, which is Gizmek Kaku, the Supreme Shining Sky Stag. This card was a selection box exclusive before. It's a level 9 fire machine monster. And if a monster is in either player's extra monster zone, you can special summon it for free. You can target one face-up monster in the extra monster zone and equip that face-up monster to this card. Then when this card destroys an opponent's monster by battle, you can special summon one of your monsters equipped to this card. You can only use each effect of Gizmek Kaku, the Supreme Shining Sky Stag, once per turn. So, the first effect allows you to just special summon a monster from your, like, you could destroy one of your, you could special summon it and yoink one of your opponent's monsters and just take it off the field, so it's no longer a threat to you. Then if you destroy one of your opponent's monsters in battle, you can bring out that monster and get some extra advantage. So maybe they put Dingirsu, Orcus of the Evening Star in their extra monster zone. Orcus players don't do that because they need to lick summon, but maybe they're bad and they put it in their extra monster zone. Okay, well now you have Dingirsu on your side of the field. You got around Dingirsu's negate effect, like preventing destruction effect, and then if you pop one of your opponent's monsters, now you get special summon Dingirsu, and Dingirsu's special summon effect activates. You get send a card from your opponent's field to the graveyard. So that's an extreme example, but it's not that extreme because you could do it yourself. Maybe you want to. Maybe you're playing Orcus, and you summon Dingirsu to your own extra monster zone intentionally. Then you special summon Gizmek and steal your own Dingirsu to put Galatea and the other Xyz material back in your graveyard, so you can use like effects. Because one of the problems that Dingirsu has is that it as long as it's on the field, your Orcus cards aren't in the graveyard for you to use their effects. So taking Dingirsu away to put cards back in your graveyard, and then during a turn, special summoning it back in mid battle, sending one of your opponent's cards to the graveyard while also getting another 2,600 attack on the field Could be pretty good. But more importantly, this card has very interesting implications with specifically Immortal Phoenix Gearfried, because for those of you that are not Salamandra and Gearfried enjoyers, um, Immortal Phoenix Gearfried's effect says when a monster effect is activated, you can send one face-up equipped card you control to the graveyard to negate the activation, and if you do, destroy it. And that equipped card does not need to be equipped to Immortal Phoenix Gearfried. So you can put this fire card into your Salamandrate deck, or not Salamandrate, Salamandra deck, and then get an extra removal and an extra negate, and do it for free because this card is just plops down whenever there's an extra monster zone space. So um, this card being put in this cheap box when they typically put like URs from selection boxes in main boxes is very startling and a very good sign moving forward. Imagine if they put IDP in one of these boxes.
Oh, that would be.
That's not going to happen. But,
I know it's not going to happen, but that would be a pretty interesting thing to do.
Shout out to Prodigy, who is our Battle Boxer guru, who also likes to play the Salamandra and Phoenix skill because that's the only good Battle Boxer skill. Who recently hit DL max with Gearfried Tenyi. So maybe Kaku is the key secret sauce that he needs to finally defeat me in a single duel with Battle Boxers. But I won't hold my breath.
Hey, you'll just have to wait. Maybe he will be cooking up something.
I added him. I sent him a message in the gym, and I was like, dude, check this out, and he hasn't responded to me yet.
He thought it was weak shit.
Nah, he's just scared. Every time he sees me, he runs.
Just give him time.
We'll see. All right.
Just building that stamina.
Okay, well, that is the box. So, everyone, this is Seraphi and Goldmine and Arkady. Join the Guild of Gurus. Our Discord link is in the description. We were thrilled to have you with us.